No.
I have no idea what happened there, but we are live. We're here.
Roger, Lisa,
Roger, Lisa.
you knew it.
Yeah, I guess it would be a weird world if it was different.
No, and that's totally normal.
If your name was Roger
Oh,
and my name was Lisa, that would blow everyone's minds. That's what I was talking about there.
okay.
So anyway, week 4, episode 4. This is the check-in, the Lo-Fi check-in. How are you doing? Really, we want to hear from you. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're having a great day and
Great weekend.
Taking care of yourselves, doing a lot of self-help stuff. Yesterday we did some self-help stuff.
Went to Waldo.
Waldo
I mountain
Lake.
biked with a friend. We did 14 miles, and then we came back. We were filthy, dirty, dusty, and we went out and got the stand-up paddleboards in Waldo, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Just just beautiful.
Real, you got to do that. You got to do something that you just love to do to feed your soul. That's very important, and we're going to talk about some of that stuff today. Today's topic is mental health in the workplace, but like we've been doing is I'm going to touch on some news, mental health in the news. And again, nothing
seems like it's showing up more.
Yeah, it's just everywhere. I think
it's been around, but
it's been around, but there's an awareness now that's there's this emerging awareness.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to do
about mental illness and mental health. So that's the direction we're going. So let's touch base a little bit on some mental health in the news. This is from the World Health Organization. And they put out a thing, the five mental health conditions that are way underdiagnosed. And I didn't say way underdiagnosed. They did. It was kind of weird to say, oh, that's way under, like rad or totally. It seemed weird. It seemed not as scientific as it should have been. Anyway, from the World Health Organization, according to them, the WHO, less than half of those who meet diagnostic criteria for psychological disorders are identified by doctors. So there's a lot of people that suffer that have never been diagnosed, a lot of them. The problem with that is that the resources are not properly allocated and conditions are not treated, often causing larger issues down the road, which I absolutely agree with. Here's 5 underdiagnosed conditions, mental health. First one is depression. And, you hear a lot about depression. Depression is kind of the go-to thing. Oh, you have depression. But here's what they say about depression. It may be one of the most common mental health conditions, affecting an estimated 264 million people worldwide. 264 million. That's a lot. But experts still warn it is underrecognized and undertreated. Mm-hmm. The WHO states that up to 85% of people in middle to low-income countries get no treatment for depression. And in the U.S., only about half the people with depression get the treatment they need. So while people are aware of depression and that it's a real thing, still, a lot of people aren't getting diagnosed, aren't getting treated, aren't seeking help. Many are often not diagnosed, and others who do not have the disorder are often misdiagnosed and prescribed antidepressants. Mm-hmm. So this is a big thing, and the trend is kind of reversing a little bit, but I've experienced it. You go to a doctor, your frontline primary care physician. And the first thing they do is they prescribe you Prozac, and say, take a little bit. And without really understanding, oh, you're sad or you're whatever you're feeling, let's give you some of this. And so a lot of times there may be other underlying issues that it's just not being diagnosed correctly. Mm-hmm. The challenge is that depression can vary widely from person to person. It can be mild, severe, anything in between. And so there's a lot. It's a huge spectrum when it comes to depression. So it would be hard, but without taking the proper time and care to properly diagnose it, I mean, it's a real challenge. Furthermore, depression isn't always obviously sadness. For example, anger can be a common one, as can unexplained physical ailments like headaches or backaches. Well, I mean, if you have a headache, that doesn't mean you're depressed. I mean, if your back hurts, you might have just exercised,
or a female, might be that time of the month. Headaches. I mean, I'm 52 and I still deal with it. Sorry, just had to share that.
No, share it. So anyway, that's a big one. The second one is, these all are going to kind of interlock in some way, is bipolar disorder. It's very misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed. Up to 20% of people with bipolar disorder may be mistakenly diagnosed with depression by their primary care doctors. That's
okay. I still get confused with bipolar. What's kind of the difference between bipolar and depression?
Well, I mean, bipolar, high-low? Yeah, the high-low. I mean, they say manic. Yes, the manic episodes. You're either really high or really low, okay. But it's not always one or the other. I mean, that's the one thing. I'm sure someone with bipolar, I've been thought to have bipolar, but I've never been officially diagnosed with it. And people who have will probably tell you that you're not always high or low. There's a lot of middle too, that, it's not like you're on a roller coaster 24/7. Let's see. Bipolar disorder is generally characterized by significant shifts in a person's mood, energy, and activity levels. But it can be difficult for individuals and clinicians to spot because it overlaps with other mental health issues. So yeah, that's another one. Definitely. And the third one, again, hand in hand, PTSD. And I'm very aware of PTSD. Experts have sometimes called post-traumatic stress disorder the misdiagnosis, despite the fact that it's highly prevalent. Experts estimate roughly 70% of Americans will experience a traumatic event in their lifetime, and about 20% will go on to develop PTSD. So 20% of the people in the country will at some point experience PTSD, which is, until you experience it, you have no idea. It will get your attention. One reason PTSD sometimes flies on the radar is because it's so strongly associated with people who serve in the military. And that's true. I mean, I served in the military, but I never went overseas. I never went overseas.
Combat, you didn't do anything.
No, I went to Yuma, Arizona for a weekend once. And that, I mean, it was hot. But anyway,
hot here.
I mean, it's hot here. It's like, the new Arizona, Oregon. Anyway, but PTSD is once you really have a bout of it, I mean, there's no question, but you have to be diagnosed, and you also have to be fully honest about what happened in your past and what may be the causes and triggers for it. So some people just don't want to deal with that, bring up that trauma again, but it's vital in the treatment. Fourth one, eating disorders. And they don't really talk too much, go into too great a detail about eating disorders, but it's funny. It's not funny. People often think eating disorders as exclusively affecting thin white teenage girls. But the two biggest components of this, the groups that get missed are men and older people.
Like me. Or older people, I guess. I mean, I know women.
I think clinically
who deal with eating disorders.
Yes.
I mean, when I was younger, I had an issue, but not bad, and I did get therapy, but it's all well and good now.
Right, but you got therapy.
I got therapy.
That's the key.
Many years ago, and I know it's just not even an issue anymore.
Yeah, and so but that's the thing. A guy would be like, oh, no, I'm not going to go talk to someone about that because first of all, they probably won't believe me, because I'm a guy. or older people. I mean, food is such an issue.
Some people, it's just could be an obsession for men.
Yeah.
Or anybody. I just
Yeah,
say
I
just
was, I had an absolute food addiction, where I treated my depression with food, and it was something that I loved, and I took it way too far. And you have to deal with these things. So, but eating disorders is an absolute. There's the mental disorder that is undiagnosed, and it absolutely kills people,
Mm-hmm.
and affects quality of life. So, and the last is something that a lot of people don't even know exists. So it's called borderline personality disorder.
Oh, that's
And
me.
yeah, but it's very interesting. What I want to know is borderline personality disorder is really been like blowing up, and it's because of COVID. People, especially when we were all locked down,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people really feel like they developed this a personality disorder. It may just be the withdrawal from society, the lack of human contact. But anyway, it's a serious mental health condition characterized by an ongoing pattern of varying moods, self-image, and behavior that causes significant difficulties in day-to-day functioning. It is one of the most commonly misdiagnosed mental health conditions. Misdiagnosed, in fact, that there isn't even an accurate prevalence rate for the condition. So they don't even know how many people really have this. It could be off the charts. It could be practically most people alive. I mean, it really.
I think so. I would think so.
And it says many people still have negative perceptions of mental health conditions and disorders, which affect the number who seek treatment. Those struggling either don't want to believe they have an issue or don't want others to know they do. And there is by far the sentence of the millennium. People don't know, they don't want to know if they have a mental condition, and they don't want others to know. They just don't want, let's push it away. And so that's 5 conditions. And why that is important is, everything, our number one thing, what's number one rule of life? I mean, that we try to get people to do.
We want them to talk.
We want them to talk.
Open up.
Number one rule of life is to talk. And nothing helps, nothing, makes you feel better than that connection that you have with someone else and talking about the problem. And nothing gets fixed until you talk about it. So we're very, very, and we're going to talk about more talking. We're going to talk about that. That's all we're going to do is talk. Let's talk about talking.
Oh, let's not take up everybody's Sunday.
And with talking?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get down to mental health in the workplace. And I'm basing a lot of this stuff on this CDC mental health in the workplace, July 2018. The CDC, they do some good work. They're kind of been in the news lately with all the COVID stuff. But this is a puff piece. I mean, I'm not a big fan. And I got definite feelings about mental health in the workplace. So, but let's go through this a little bit. Mental health disorders are among the most burdensome health concerns in the United States. Nearly 1 in 5 U.S. adults age 18 or older, 18.3% or 44.7 million people reported a mental illness. Reported any mental illness. 71% of adults reported at least one symptoms. Anyway, 70% of the people polled had some form of mental illness. It may have been a one-time a crisis situation. It may have been, they deal with it on an ongoing situation. It may have been an eating disorder or PTSD, but these are reported events. So about 63% of Americans in the workforce deal with mental illness. And so it's not a question of if somebody, that you work with, deals with mental illness, it's a guarantee. I mean, there's people that you work with that deal with mental illness.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just how it is. And they have a lot of numbers here. It's a lot. It's a lot of
We
people.
won't discuss numbers.
No, numbers. That's not important. And now here's some things that the CDC wants you to know, that mental illness can lead negatively to poor job performance, lack of engagement in one's work, a problem communicating with coworkers, and the physical capability, it hinders the physical capability and daily functioning. And so, that's something that you should know. And it interferes with the person's ability to complete physical job tasks about 20% of the time. Anyway, let's move on, because the main thing I think we understand that if you're depressed and you're depressed going to work, it's going to affect your job performance.
It does.
It absolutely does. And again, so I'm kind of picking this apart a little bit, because these are things that I think everyone gets, and they're trying to really, put makeup on the pig. They're trying to shine that turd right up. This is not a turd that you could shine. So we'll just keep going through it. Then I'll get into how I feel about it. The workplace is an optimal setting to create a culture of health, because anyway, we all have to work. That's well, I mean,
okay. I'll just shut up.
I mean, for the most part,
most people do work.
Most people work. Most people have to work. They do, because you have to live. You have to be able to put food on the table and keep the roof over your head. So, it's not a question of, can I, just be depressed and not work?
Not work.
You have to work. It's just something. So, and at work, we spend more time at work than we usually do at home. For the most part, if you take sleeping out of the equation, we're spending more of our active life at work.
I don't mean to laugh, but we have a gate up in the hallways to keep the dogs out. And one of our dogs seemed to get through it, and she's in here, and I'm trying not to focus on her and try not to get angry. So if you see me smirking over here, I'm just not laughing at what he's saying. No, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Let's pick her up.
I will.
All right.
You keep
they have to irritate us. I mean, that's the whole idea, is they can't not.
Self-control not to say anything
they
bad.
Can't.
Right now.
It's like son of a. Anyway, okay. So we're back to talking about what the CDC is saying, and right now the employers, they have an awesome chance of helping their employees, and they're highly encouraged by the CDC to offer programs that will help people dealing with mental illness to improve their lives. Now, I'll tell you what the problem is here in a second. Let's see, success stories. There's several success stories, but the main thing is they put out a list. What can different entities dealing with this, what can they do? What the CDC says, what can healthcare providers do? They can include clinical psychologists, social workers, physical and occupational therapists, and other allied health professionals as part of a core treatment teams to provide comprehensive holistic care. They can, of course they can, but it doesn't happen. Okay, what can public health researchers do? Develop a how-to guide to help in the design, implementation, and evaluation of workplace health programs. Create mental health scorecards for employees that they can use to assess their workplace environment and identify areas of intervention. People love those. I'm telling you. Develop a recognition program that rewards employers who demonstrate evidence-based improvements. All right. So, yes, it would be awesome. It would be amazing if we can come to an agreement with the healthcare providers and with employers, and we can offer something that to all employees that say, hey, if you're having a rough time, we have people to talk to. And that'll be part of like looking at, they said a holistic approach. What is going on? What's not the problem today? What's the underlying issues? Is it a workplace issue? Is it a home issue that you're bringing into the workplace? What is it? How can we assist in solving these problems and making your life better? This whole thing, everything that they've said, that what can people do? What can employees do? Build and nurture real life face-to-face social connections. That's great advice if you're not dealing with issues and don't want to be around people. Eat healthy, well-balanced meals, exercise regularly, and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Again, this stuff is really like we get it.
Yeah,
I mean,
get it.
it's
But it's
so
anyway,
anyway,
it can't happen. It won't
yeah,
happen.
we're at a crisis point in our country because we've just let this go. We've let it fester without talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
We've let we what are you doing?
Oh my god.
Dogs. Anyway, we've gotten to a place because we've avoided it. We've avoided the problem. We've avoided it in personal communications. We've avoided it in our business communications, in our life with the government, with every aspect of our lives. We've kind of pushed it all away to another time. We've kicked the can down the road, and we're in a place now where very few people are fulfilled and happy when they go to work. The people don't understand what's going on. There's not a forum for if I'm having a bad day. There's no forum. I can't go to and I say no, but there are some companies that are early adopters of.
What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by early adopters is that they understand that the right now mental health is a huge deal,
right.
and really it's a business deal. This is, when you look at it, this is not a health issue. I mean, from the point of view of the employers. The employers, this is a money issue, because a non-happy employee is not a productive employee. Okay, so if I take this from a purely cost basis point of view, business wise, I want my employees to be happy. I want them to be happy because a happy employee is a productive employee.
Right.
They do their work, they're happy, it's a great environment, and their lives are they're happier to be there. Everything works better. It's but the problem is very few people actually empower their employees to say, hey, if you're having a rough time, let's talk, or take the day, or let's find someone for you to talk to.
Mental health day.
Yeah, I mean, those things are, I mean, of course you hear, like if you go to work at Google, you could play ping pong and basketball and skee ball probably, and those things that make, oh, I'm stressed, I'm going to go play skee ball. I mean, that always makes me, skee ball is awesome. I love skee ball. But the whole idea that we can, it's just, oh, we're going to give you a form. Hey, how are you feeling? Fill this out.
Generic.
It's and we're gonna if you go through our little program here, we'll pat you on the back and everything's going to be fine. That the time is past for that. Those kind of interventions will not be acceptable. I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's bringing wrapping rubber band around your finger and taking that to a gunfight. Someone pulls out a gun and you have like your gun finger with the rubber band that you go pew, and it shoots out. That's what you have, and we can't. And I know this is not, we want to be uplifting, but it's got to start somewhere. This whole thing has got to start somewhere, and it starts really. The thing that they have right is if we can get employers to start talking about this, then we can make a big difference. And it's not just employers. Each person here that's listening. I mean, you work with a lot of people. I mean, as a bus driver,
and I mean, in kids, I see a lot with the kids.
Yeah.
So I'm only limited to what I can do and say.
Right.
With kids.
Yes, but you can absolutely go to your coworkers, and you do, and I know you do, because it's like, how are you doing? What's going on? I mean, is everything okay? And just those little things. So we all have a part to play in this drama of mental illness in the workplace. We all have a part to play in that, because we're all a coworker of somebody. We know people, and they may be struggling. So if you have a very supportive workplace, it can always be more supportive. Are you looking at your watch?
Well, it's telling me to breathe.
Oh, breathe. See, that's the thing. That's the CDC saying, you'll be much happier if you breathe once in a while. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. But what I want you to do is understand the people that you work with, they have issues too. Everyone you meet, everyone you encounter on a day-to-day basis has everyone you meet. No, I was going to, the dog was talking. I decided against that.
Keep going. Everybody you meet.
Everyone you meet is carrying something. Obviously, 70% of the people dealing with mental health issues, I mean, it's huge. Nobody wants to talk about it. And that's what we were trying to do. Because if we can talk about it, then we can do something about it. We can feel better. We can assist. We can't be in part of someone's life where they need us unless we know they need us. And so I most of the time I don't know what to say to somebody when they come up and just start talking. I just let them talk, and I just sit there and just listen. And sometimes that's all they need. Yes. And so we need to start this. If anyone knows, if there's an employer out there that doesn't know, that wants to do something, that there's absolutely programs that we could put in place for them.
You start your own little therapy group, get people together, meet up somewhere, have coffee, go have lunch somewhere, just meet somewhere, just get your little powwow going. It's great. It helps. And
so that's going to make a huge difference in people's lives, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time and some effort. And there's no magic. You just can't, when you've like gone down this path for so long, you just can't turn and change things immediately. But what we can do is just start little by little reaching out to people. And if it's us that's having the problem, if it's us that's at work miserable and not doing, then it's up to us to do something about that. It's up to us to reach out and talk to people and start that conversation and say, I'm hurting and I need help. And there's no shaming that. I mean, there's no shame in it. There's power in that. There's strength in that. So anyway, we are going to let you get going back to your Sundays. Hopefully you understand a little bit more. If you have any questions at all, let us know. But more than that, talk to other people, talk to your healthcare providers, talk to counselors, and just start making this a part of your life, is just talking. So, And so we're going to sign off, for Izzy. Izzy,
This is Izzy.
Izzy
She's
wants
our
you.
oldest female.
Yeah. Izzy
Dog.
wants you to be happy and healthy, and live your life with purpose. Right? You're just hungry, right? You just want to be fed. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go so I can feed the dog, and live my life. So, sending you peace and love, and please reach out if you need anything. We're
Have
here.
a great rest of your Sunday,
Yep.
guys.
And
And